So welcome back after what I trust was an enjoyable lunch break and also an insightful and engaging series of cluster consultations. I know I was able to stop by, well, I spent much time here at the consultation on electoral and democracy strengthening assistance. I spent some time at the humanitarian assistance consultation, and I visited the security assistance consultation just before they got going. During this afternoon's closing session, the intent is to offer to member states and permanent observers the opportunity to again take the floor to share any comments or remarks made based on observations during the course of today's dialogue, or any other specific statements that member states or permanent observers may wish to make. Following that, we have been informed that there's the likelihood that the special advisor on Haiti to the CARICOM Secretary General, Ambassador Colin Granderson, may be able to join us if he is able to connect to our Kudo platform, and he will join to deliver a few remarks. I would then be offering the floor to the representatives of the High-Level Transition Council, and I understand one member should be here to speak, and also to the representatives of the government of Haiti. And following that, at item 7, I will just offer some closing remarks and provide a look forward for the activities of the working group. So with that said, welcome back. I see some of our distinguished colleagues still joining. Good. So, Excellencies, I now offer the floor to any delegations that may wish to offer their concluding remarks or make any other statement at this time. You have the floor. And seeing no requests for the floor from member states, I offer the floor now to any permanent observers that may wish to make statements, make their concluding statements. I note that some representatives are still joining, so I offer the floor to our distinguished permanent representative of Guyana. Excellency, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My colleagues, I venture and my experience is that everyone wants to say something but is concerned about saying it. And being a relatively new person, maybe I'll venture to say something that others might want to say. We've heard a number of excellent presentations on the situation in Haiti this morning, and they all make clear what a dire, complex, and complicated situation we face. We've had a lot of analysis. One has a feeling too, though not mentioned, that the history of previous interventions hang over all of us. No wonder that for a year we have been hearing that the OAS has been paralyzed in this matter. As it appears, our colleagues at the United Nations have been also. We've had a lot of analysis, and the question now is to synthesize, to put together these analysis we've been hearing, imagine something and put it forward that seeks to answer much of the analysis that we've been hearing. We have many, many requirements, as we've been hearing, and I think our first impression would be that we couldn't meet all of them. Maybe we couldn't meet many of them. And I began thinking about the story we all know about Alexander the Great and the Gordian knot that you were supposed to unravel. And he took the action of taking his sword and cutting it. And I wonder whether we are in such a situation. Can we meet all the requirements that we've been hearing ourselves and others putting forward? And if we couldn't, should we think of doing something practical, finding a way to cut the knot? Maybe I have been selective in my hearing, but I heard two things in particular during the past hours. One of them came from the UN representative in Haiti. I don't think I got the name well, Miss Latima? Lalima. And she used the word dominant. Security, we all agree, is the big issue. And she used the word dominant. And I think I heard people talking about changing the psychology of the situation. In my time in Guyana, and I hear the security people speaking, and we're a very small country, very small force, but the security people usually talk about dominance, 5 to 10 times the opposition, and if you do it well, the opposition doesn't fight back. But if you go in with equal numbers or 2 or 3 times, they might be inspired to fight back. So that's one thing I remember hearing in my days. So dominant. We need a dominant force going in to change the psychology of the situation. And I think it should be committed for a very short time, maybe a year to 2 years. I was very pleased to hear, I think, Dr. Guerrero speaking. He sounded like a very practical man. He sounded like a CEO from a private sector business. He knew all that was required, but he also talked about ad hoc things. I learned along the way that quite often you may want to do something that is excellent at 100, say, but sometimes the situation only allows you to get at the best 60, 65, and then you have to go and work for 60 or 65. And quite often, the arrangements to get 60 and 65 are quite different from the arrangement to get 100. I heard Dr. Guerrero speaking about ad hoc things. So if I were to be bold and to venture, I would say we need a solution that has a dominant force. Maybe we have to appeal to our big brothers in the area, in the OAS, the 3 or 4 big brothers in the OAS, to move forward. And of course, we couldn't do anything such thing without my neighbor here leading the way. But it appears that a dominant force is a first requirement for a limited period. And from what I heard Dr. Guerrero say, maybe a year or 2 years, 2 years involvement, intervention to get something done, some ad hoc done, because from my own experience in my country, constitution reforms and all the proper consultations could be a 3, 5, 7-year job. But something could be done in a shorter time if a target is set. So, colleagues, I put that, and if I need to make an excuse, I would say that it's my old first training as an engineer coming out, that you have to synthesize. Sometimes you got to synthesize, and you got to put together everything, and most times you couldn't meet all the requirements. You have to come up with something feasible. The alternative is continuing the road that we have been on in Haiti. And shall we go on until a point is reached, which often happens? You go on until a point is reached that the unacceptable becomes better than what is happening. Maybe my proposal synthesis is unacceptable. But maybe the alternative seems to be that we keep going down the road, and maybe we reach a point where the unacceptable becomes the better alternative. I thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Excellency. Your remarks are noted and will certainly be considered by the working group as we go along. I now offer the floor to the delegation of Canada. Distinguished colleague, you have the floor.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. Je prends la parole d'abord à titre de représentant du Canada. Je vais d'abord commencer avec quelques points au sujet de l'approche que le Canada a adoptée face à la situation en Haïti. Mais je vais conclure tout à l'heure en faisant état un peu de la discussion qu'on a eue tout à l'heure au sein du groupe sur la sécurité. Puis je demanderai d'ailleurs à l'ambassadeur Lynch, qui était le co-modérateur de cette séance, d'ajouter d'informations pertinentes à ce sujet-là. Laissez-moi d'abord, Monsieur le Président, vous remercier d'avoir convoqué la rencontre d'aujourd'hui. Remercier aussi tous les présentateurs qui se sont joints à nous et qui ont vraiment contribué à une meilleure compréhension du défi auquel nous sommes tous confrontés, les défis auxquels nos amis et collègues haïtiens sont confrontés. Je les remercie, eux aussi, nos amis et collègues haïtiens et haïtiennes, d'avoir partagé ce matin sur tous les champs d'action prioritaires du gouvernement d'Haïti. J'aimerais réitérer que notre priorité au Canada est d'appuyer ces efforts et d'autres activités encore, dirigées par les autorités haïtiennes afin de rétablir l'ordre et la sécurité et de créer les conditions qui permettront le renouveau démocratique en Haïti au moyen d'élections libres et transparentes. À cet égard, la mise en œuvre de la réponse intégrée du Canada en Haïti se poursuit et elle repose sur 4 piliers principaux. Premièrement, l'appui aux efforts visant à la poursuite et l'approfondissement du dialogue politique. Deuxièmement, la lutte contre la corruption, notamment au moyen des sanctions. Troisièmement, le renforcement des capacités stratégiques et opérationnelles de la Police nationale d'Haïti et finalement l'offre continue d'aide humanitaire et au développement en réponse aux besoins les plus pressants du peuple d'Haïti. En ce qui concerne la crise sécuritaire, le Canada continue de suivre de très près la situation très préoccupante qui prévaut en Haïti, notamment la fréquence croissante des enlèvements et les attaques constantes des gangs armés, tant contre la police nationale haïtienne que la population haïtienne elle-même. De façon très urgente, le Canada s'implique à renforcer les capacités de la PNH pour qu'elle puisse reprendre le dessus sur les bandes armées qui terrorisent la population. Le Canada entend aussi continuer à faire pression sur ceux et celles qui appuient les bandits armés par la mise en œuvre de sanctions ainsi que d'autres mesures visant à faire pression sur les personnes qui bénéficient des crimes perpétrés par les gangs, que ce soit au plan économique ou au plan politique. De plus, le Canada soutient le renforcement de l'État de droit en travaillant à l'amélioration de l'accès aux services juridiques et judiciaires, en luttant contre la corruption et l'impunité, notamment en renforçant les capacités des organisations de défense des droits des femmes, à améliorer et à accroître l'accès aux services d'aide juridique. Pour ce qui est du dialogue politique, l'établissement du Haut Conseil de transition récemment installé, dont nous avons entendu la présidente ce matin, marque le début d'un processus politique prometteur, lequel, toutefois, doit continuer de s'élargir. Le Canada est saisi du besoin d'appuyer les efforts du Haut Conseil de transition et des autres parties prenantes, visant à élargir le consensus autour de l'accord du 21 décembre. Ceci permettra la tenue d'élections et la restauration d'un gouvernement constitutionnel qui sont tous les deux si essentiels au rétablissement de la confiance citoyenne à l'égard des institutions publiques et politiques. J'aimerais reconnaître au nom de la délégation du Canada les efforts déployés à ce jour, notamment par vous, Monsieur le Président, pour établir et lancer ce nouveau groupe de travail sur Haïti de l'OEA, qui offre un mécanisme additionnel pour renforcer la coordination internationale en réponse à la crise en Haïti dans plusieurs domaines. Le Canada compte participer pleinement et activement dans ce nouveau groupe, ainsi que ses sous-groupes, en accord avec son engagement soutenu et de longue date en appui au peuple haïtien. Nous espérons et en fait, nous nous attendons à ce que ce groupe de travail se concentre à identifier des actions concrètes qui puissent être prises par l'OEA et ses États membres pour soutenir les efforts des autorités haïtiennes. Le Canada est prêt à s'engager activement dans ces discussions et dans la recherche de pistes de solutions concrètes dans les sphères d'activité où l'OEA et les autres organes du système interaméricain ont le plus à contribuer. Mr. Chair, I'll continue in English very, very briefly to sum up the key points that emerged from the security cluster discussion, which I had the pleasure of co-moderating along with the ambassador from Barbados. I think it's fair to say that by way of a general conclusion of our discussion, I think what emerges is a true better appreciation for the multi-dimensional nature of the security crisis in Haiti. We touched on a number of themes, each more complex than the other. And I think we tried to zero in on those themes which are the most relevant in the context of our work here at the OAS. Now, I can talk about some of the key themes that emerged, that were raised. Certainly, when one talks about the security crisis in Haiti, as was mentioned this morning, the issue of weapons trafficking was high on everyone's radar. There was a recognition that this is something that was central to the crisis currently going on in Haiti, and in which the OAS may have something to contribute, both as it relates to the trafficking of weapons and arms through the ports, but also through the border. And there's, I believe, a great deal of concern around the table with respect to that particular issue, and I think a desire to explore it further within the context of the security cluster going forward. Now, a number of issues, I think, came up which did not necessarily generate consensus, but certainly the issue of sanctions as a means of putting pressure on the key players and the that are partly responsible for the security crisis in Haiti. I think the issue of sanctions, I think, was one theme, important theme, although it's not clear as to whether this was I think it could have been characterized by some of the participants as a rabbit hole down which it was unclear whether it was worth going. But certainly this preoccupation that sanctions could be used as a means of getting at those people who are funding the gangs and cutting the ties that exist between the gangs and those powerful individuals. Certainly sanctions seems to be an effective, although imperfect tool at the disposal of the international community. And so I think it's fair to say that we left that discussion, as we would say in French, en suspens. I don't know how that came across in the translation or in the interpretation, but en suspens. There is obviously a lot that should or could or should be done to provide support to the Haitian National Police, and certainly this idea that we should, as a community, do everything we possibly can, individually and collectively, to contribute to building the capacity of the Police Nationale d'Haïti is worth exploring. The issue of corruption within the Police Nationale d'Haïti was raised, and certainly there is a great deal of expertise within the OAS with respect to the fight against corruption. It was actually the theme of a not so distant or a summit of the Americas not too long ago, and certainly this is an area where that is worth also exploring. How can we generate interest among the member states around this table and around the Permanent Council table in the basket fund, in the security basket fund? This is an easy, entre comillas, way to contribute to solutions to the security crisis in Haiti, and more countries should be invited to make contributions, financial contributions to the basket fund. Many already have, and so drawing attention to the basket fund and making it as easy as possible for countries, member countries of the OAS to contribute, I think is also something that is high on the minds of the security cluster members. Now, before passing it over to Ambassador Lynch, I'll just mention two things. A lot of multi-dimensional crisis speaks to the various aspects of this crisis to which there is always maybe some expertise that may exist within the Secretariat. So I think one of the things that was expressed by participants in the discussion, i.e. me, was a need to start mapping out what are the areas of expertise that could be leveraged and used. Those areas of expertise within the Secretariat and across the inter-American system, what are those areas of expertise that could be leveraged? Now, having a map of that would be useful for the work of the cluster going forward, recognizing, as was pointed out, that the organization faces financial challenges. A lot of the work that is being done in the security sphere is project and donor driven. And so the need ultimately to make the link between those capabilities and actual projects that could be proposed to donors in order for the organization to make a difference on the ground in Haiti. So I will leave it at that, and will invite Dr. Lynch, or Ambassador Lynch, to chime in as well. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, good afternoon. I don't know that I can contribute anything more. I think that the permanent representative or alternate for Canada was very complete in his exposition of what we would have decided in the cluster. There is one thing that was raised by the permanent representative for the Dominican Republic about the length of the border with Haiti. I think he mentioned it was like 4,000 kilometers or 400 kilometers. And he said that their numbers on their side were significant, into the thousands, while Haiti's was only into a couple hundred. And I believe that that's one of the areas in which, if there's anything that we can contribute, because we're talking in a committee in which there are 3 clusters, a working group, and therefore there are reduced numbers even in the cluster. And then you come to the broader committee, broader working group, which is only 14, but for an organization that has 34 members, I think it is important that we do know the level of commitment that we have within each jurisdiction, within each country, that they can commit to any level of assistance to Haiti. The United States says, and I'm not putting words in anyone's mouth, the permanent representative of the U.S. can speak on his own behalf, but that there's got to be a central repository, there's got to be some command center. I think you would know more about that than I would ever know. And therefore, the United States, in my opinion, has got to be that place. And I don't think the permanent representative was opposed to that type of thinking. But there's got to be a sense of who has what in terms of resources and who is willing to commit. And if they're willing to do that, then the United States can be that central command center. The one thing I will finally say is that, and you know this better than I do, there's, I'm prone to quote from long dead European authors who say all kinds of things and wrote all kinds of things. But you know who Leroy Callis is. You call him Black Stalin. And he had a song called Isms and Schisms. Do you remember that? And culture's most destructive enemy is ideology, especially ideology that belittles races and people. And therefore, I think sometimes we need to throw away some of the large formal ideologies and really focus on helping these people. I can't say it enough that this is a dire situation, more dire than any of us in this room could even conceive of. And therefore, we need to make these commitments, but I want to throw away some of the formality and lean on the side of urgency. There is an urgent need. Whatever else we do through the other security agencies in the OAS and in the inter-American system that need funding, the immediate concern is quelling this security situation. So I will not say more, sir. Thank my co-chair and those who participated in that cluster. And thank you for your diligent work in coordinating today's session. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Lynch and distinguished colleague from Canada, Francois. I now offer the floor to the distinguished permanent representative of Suriname, who was the moderator for the Humanitarian Assistance Cluster. Excellency, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chair. We had a discussion with, I think, more people online than in the room. we also had participation from Haiti, which was very good, and eye-opener also. What we came up with is, I will reduce them to 5 points. The first one is that we should make a good inventory of who is active, which organizations, and what is being done with respect to humanitarian assistance, because we need that overview. And the positive side of that is that we have a number of OES agencies already in the field, so we should start with the OES projects. We had a report there from Sare, who is involved in at least one project, and the OES agencies on what they are doing. And we have a number of OES agencies, I think, who can really start with, we can start with that overview while we get information from others as well. This is important in order not to duplicate any assistance, humanitarian assistance, but also to know if somebody wants to put in some money for something, that who is already there and what can be done, because the situation indeed is not a good one, and we should use what is already there in the field. So the second point is has to do with the food security situation, and it is clear that there is food insecurity, but a lot of it is based again on the security situation, because people cannot reach the poor with food support. And again here, the ICA was requested already in October, I think, in the resolution that was adopted on 6th of October, to make a report on the make a needs assessment report, and also to do things in agriculture, because there is food insecurity, but there is also agricultural potential, so the investment should go on and that sector should be supported. So we should ask ICA to at least forward that report to us, and also what they are doing in terms of agricultural projects. The third issue, that is mainly the health issue, it was described for us that access to health facilities is a problem because of the security situation, but also because of the transport issue. Clean water is a problem which is connected to the cholera outbreak, and there's a lot of trash in the city, which is also part of this health issue. Again, we have PAHO, so we should ask PAHO for a full report on maybe the health issue and the humanitarian assistance in that respect. PAHO is very close to us, so that should not be too difficult. So then the fourth one is we should find ways to support local communities, because international organizations may come and go. The local communities are there to remain, and I think that SARE has a project with local communities, so maybe we can step up our support for the local communities who still find ways to assist the local population. And then fifth is youth programs, because there is a lack of opportunity, and we should still try to engage with youth through education, but also special programs. And maybe I should include a sixth one, or not maybe. It was not discussed, we didn't have time for it, but the situation of women and vulnerable populations, which is also very dire, and that is interwoven, I think, in all of the other issues that we should try to protect women and children in this situation as much as possible. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Excellency, for your summary of the outcomes of the consultation on humanitarian assistance. Okay. I have been advised that despite best efforts at connecting, the Special Advisor on Haiti to the CARICOM Secretary General has had severe technical problems and therefore is still, and therefore now finally unlikely to be able to join. I keep scrolling through the participant list or the viewer list, and I know this morning he had the meeting being followed on the viewer list, but he's not able to join us at the participant list. So as a working group, what we will do is that at a subsequent meeting, we will arrange to receive the presentation from Ambassador Colin Grandison, and we are grateful for his efforts at connecting this afternoon. Excellencies, distinguished colleagues, I think this is where I could go again to offer the floor to any delegations or permanent observers that would wish to speak, and following that we would move to any representative from the government of Haiti. I see immediately the permanent observer of the Holy See. Excellency, good afternoon, welcome, you have the floor.
Muchas gracias, señor presidente. Esta delegación de la Santa Sede se congratula con la convocatoria de esta reunión del Grupo de Trabajo sobre Haití y agradece a los participantes del Gobierno de Haití y el Alto Consejo de Transición, como a los distintos expositores que han tenido significativos aportes. La Santa Sede reconoce los esfuerzos que la Organización de los Estados Americanos está realizando en favor de Haití, con la aprobación del Consejo Permanente el pasado 10 de febrero de la resolución renovado apoyo a la asistencia humanitaria y en materia de seguridad, a la celebración de elecciones inclusivas, transparentes, libres y justas y a la transición democrática en la República de Haití. Además, la Santa Sede valora los pasos que se han dado para establecer este grupo de trabajo y extender la participación a los países observadores de la OEA, entre otros, para dialogar y avanzar en la seguridad, la democracia y la asistencia humanitaria en favor del pueblo haitiano. Ante la coyuntura social y política que vive el país, esta delegación de la Santa Sede retiene oportuno traer a esta mesa de diálogo el comunicado de la Conferencia Episcopal de Haití del pasado 9 de marzo, con el que lanza un enérgico apelo dirigido, en particular, a la comunidad internacional. Los obispos haitianos afirman, abro comillas, Haití es de todos. Algo tiene que cambiar aquí. Está claro que solos no podemos luchar contra este mal que ha echado tantas raíces en nuestro país. En nombre de la solidaridad internacional y la fraternidad universal, la comunidad internacional debe actuar en un momento en el que todo un pueblo está expuesto al terror de las pandillas, que no perdonan ni a las mujeres, ni a los niños, ni a los enfermos. Ahora es el momento de adoptar medidas concretas. Les instamos a que actúen rápidamente antes de que sea demasiado tarde. Señor presidente, la Iglesia Católica en Haití tiene un papel activo en el apoyo y el tratamiento de la situación humanitaria, principalmente en las áreas de atención, educación y salud. Desempeña un rol fundamental en el sustento a las comunidades, pero también en la comprensión de las necesidades físicas, sociales, económicas y espirituales de la sociedad. Esta es una contribución específica para avanzar holísticamente hacia el apoyo de la estabilidad y la seguridad en dicho país caribeño. La Santa Sede considera que sería importante presentar por parte del Grupo de Trabajo un plan específico de prioridades concretas para abordar los desafíos actuales y a largo plazo en Haití. Señor presidente, la Santa Sede renueva su disponibilidad para ser facilitadora de diálogo y colaborar a través de sus instituciones locales en lo que pueda ayudar al cese de la violencia y establecer la paz tan necesaria a fin de lograr la gobernabilidad y el bienestar social. Muchas gracias, señor presidente.
Thank you very much, Excellency, for your remarks and for sharing with us the communique that you just read, and also take note of the recommendation for an undertaking that the working group should consider. Thank you very much. I offer the floor now to the delegation of the United States. Excellency, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. We, as everyone, remain deeply concerned by the continued insecurity and instability in Haiti and their impacts on efforts to respond to the ongoing humanitarian crisis, including the cholera outbreak. Working through the OAS working group and this assistance dialogue, we have a new chance, I believe, to urgently press for collective action in response to these challenges. And I urge colleagues and other participants to engage in support of tangible and specific outcomes, specific especially on security. Now, Mr. Chairman, the United States will continue to engage with interested international partners to develop the framework for a multinational police force to provide security and stability. And we will continue to explore additional sanctions and visa restrictions, in addition to the 50 or so that we have now, against individuals undermining peace and stability in Haiti. And I look to this assistance dialogue to help us support, advance, and amplify these efforts, particularly in engaging interested international partners in developing a multinational police force. Mr. Chairman, with your indulgence and those of my colleagues, and I don't know if this is perhaps the appropriate forum, but I'd like to take this opportunity to humbly volunteer to be the vice chair of the working group. If everyone, if you believe this is the appropriate space or moment, we'd be happy to work with you and the members of the working group as vice chair of the working group. Thank you very much.
Excellency, there's always an appropriate time. It is always an appropriate time to receive good news. Thank you. Thank you. And I look forward to being able to include in the script of the chair at our next meeting on the 21st to welcome and introduce you then by acclamation, formally, again, as our Vice Chair. Thank you. But Excellency, I've also taken note of your other remarks. I think you identify that in the context of this multilateral framework at the OAS, you highlight that this is an opportunity presented for collective action across the full spectrum of areas of assistance already so clearly prioritized today, for example, as expressed by Madame Maniga and the representatives of the government of Haiti. Thank you. I offer the floor now to the delegation of Colombia. Excellency, bienvenido. Buenas tardes. Tiene la palabra.
Gracias, señor presidente y distinguidos participantes. Pues de entrada, por supuesto que me sumo, como imagino que todos nosotros, a la autopostulación que ha hecho el embajador Fran Mora para asumir la vicepresidencia del grupo, cosa que nos place a todos y me parece que estábamos en mora de escucharlo. De manera que bienvenido y nos congratulamos mucho, como usted, señor presidente, de tener tan grata compañía al frente de este organismo que se ha creado ad hoc. Colombia ratifica una vez más su solidaridad con el pueblo haitiano. El pueblo haitiano afronta problemas de seguridad producto del narcotráfico, de las bandas criminales que han limitado su capacidad de crecimiento y desarrollo, lo que se agrava ante la ausencia de una arquitectura institucional que sea capaz de garantizar lo fundamental, el derecho a una convivencia en paz. Colombia es país promotor del concepto de paz total. Por ello, apoya iniciativas que contribuyan a alcanzarla en Haití. La crisis de este país es un reflejo más de las violencias generadas, como ya dijimos, por el narcotráfico, y una solución estructural para Haití pasa también por la necesidad de introducir un nuevo abordaje al problema mundial de las drogas y un enfoque de seguridad humana para combatir el crimen organizado transnacional que propicia la acción de las bandas criminales. Es tiempo de dar el siguiente paso en un genuino esfuerzo de superar la crisis con frentes de fortalecimiento de la gobernabilidad democrática y la seguridad humana. Tenemos claro que se debe mejorar la seguridad de infraestructuras en los puertos, el control de armas, el entrenamiento de la policía haitiana, así como la organización de un proceso electoral, ojalá completo, para constituir un gobierno legítimo, con liderazgo y respaldo popular. En cumplimiento del mandato que tenemos en el marco de la OEA, a nombre del gobierno del presidente Gustavo Petro, priorizamos el tema de cooperación con Haití, mediante asistencia a su gobierno de transición y su cuerpo de policía en la atención integral a la problemática de violencia urbana provocada por pandillas juveniles, como se nos ha sobrediagnosticado en todo este tiempo, particularmente en la Cité Soleil, a las afueras de Puerto Príncipe. En tal sentido, como sabe el señor embajador, ya se ha hecho una propuesta desde diciembre del año pasado. Darle inicio implicaría, por supuesto, que la Policía Nacional de Colombia, mediante una hoja de ruta que se trace, ojalá se trace acá, focalice esfuerzos en una intervención integral y humana para eliminar los focos de violencia. Por otra parte, a finales del año 2022, el gobierno de Haití solicitó ayuda a Colombia en materia de cooperación técnica en procesos y mecanismos de transparencia electoral y metodologías de control y eficiencia en procesos electorales, así llamó la solicitud el gobierno transitorio. Por eso, trabajamos en este clúster, justamente el dedicado a este tema. Hemos remitido esa solicitud que ha hecho el Haití a la Registraduría Nacional del Servicio Civil, allá en Colombia, que se encuentra en capacidad de otorgar cooperación a Haití a través de su oferta académica y de capacitación. Y en esta ocasión proponen, de allá hacia acá, hacerlo a través de 6 procedimientos de transparencia electoral que resultarían adecuados para un proceso electoral en Haití con su debida adaptación a la realidad del país. 1. Normas que garanticen la transparencia electoral. Código electoral, se pone a disposición el colombiano, y procedimiento de escrutinio para que se acomode al país. 2. Sistemas de información que garanticen la transparencia electoral. 3. Participación de organismos multilaterales en el proceso electoral. 4. La capacitación a los actores del proceso electoral y su difusión. 5. El acceso a la información para el pueblo haitiano. Y finalmente, las certificaciones de calidad de los procesos electorales. Colombia hará lo que le corresponda para coadyuvar en la organización de un proceso electoral pleno, legítimo, con garantías que permita constituir un gobierno con estabilidad, respaldo popular y, por supuesto, legitimidad. Y, de todas formas, aprovecho la oportunidad también para pedir, si nos está escuchando el señor ministro de Relaciones Exteriores, que permitan que el convenio que se había hecho con el canciller colombiano se pueda llevar a cabo. Entonces, que permitan que se abra el consulado en Haití, que estamos esperando realmente es la autorización para ello, y que tengamos el máximo de información posible, información que aspiramos a que sea plena, sin resquicios, sin intersticios, con toda la verdad, para poder nosotros participar de la mejor manera esto. El hecho de que nos ofrezcan la palabra y estemos todos como con la idea de no saber realmente qué decir, pues significa o denota que de pronto también nos hace falta la información correspondiente. Pero, como ustedes acaban de escuchar, hemos hecho unas propuestas realmente para colaborar en lo que podamos al pueblo haitiano y que ojalá se supere esta aguda crisis. Muchas gracias, presidente.
Muchas gracias, Excellencia. I offer the floor now to the delegation of Chile. Excellency, you have the floor.
Gracias, presidente, por la palabra y la convocatoria a este diálogo, que sabemos representó importante trabajo de su delegación y tiene la buena noticia de que será acompañado también por la delegación de Estados Unidos, ahora como co-chair del espacio en adelante. El compromiso de Chile con Haití es de larga data. Tenemos ya 85 años de relación bilateral. Durante 13 años fuimos parte de la misión de paz de las Naciones Unidas en Haití. Y después fuimos parte de la misión de apoyo a la justicia de las Naciones Unidas en Haití, que finalizó en 2019. Hoy este compromiso se ve expresado en los ámbitos multilateral, bilateral y también dentro de las fronteras del territorio chileno. Esto último porque la diáspora haitiana en Chile hoy representa el 13% de los extranjeros residentes, lo que ha representado tanto un aporte a nivel social, cultural y económico a nuestro país, como también un importante esfuerzo de integración por parte del Estado y la sociedad chilena para promover la inserción de familias haitianas en el país, lo que ha contribuido a su vez a la economía haitiana, pues hoy Chile es el segundo país de origen de las remesas que en Haití se reciben. En cooperación bilateral aparecen cuestiones importantes como proyectos de formación de bomberos e instructores de equipos comunitarios de respuesta a emergencias. Hemos trabajado junto a funcionarios del Poder Judicial haitiano en desarrollo de capacidades de gestión en ética y el proyecto Juntas por Nuestra Niñez, por el cual Chile y Haití promueven la lactancia materna para mejorar la nutrición infantil en Haití. También en el marco del clúster de elección y democracia, donde participa Chile en este grupo de trabajo, la institución electoral de Chile, el CERVEL, ha manifestado su compromiso a colaborar decididamente en procesamiento de resultados, que es parte de la experticia de esta institución, una vez que se pueda avanzar en esa materia. En el eje crítico de seguridad, presidente, Chile está trabajando con la formación internacional de policías extranjeros. Las fuerzas policiales haitianas han usado este programa ampliamente desde el año 96, contando a la fecha más de 273 becados de Haití. Con todo esto, nuestro país va a continuar cooperando con Haití, tal como lo hemos estado haciendo en el último tiempo, a través de programas bilaterales y buscando socios en cooperación triangular, mientras que, tal como este espacio es testigo, somos parte de la búsqueda colectiva de una solución a la crisis haitiana en el ámbito multilateral. En ese ámbito, presidente, Chile quiere ser clara en que el liderazgo de esta acción colectiva, de esta búsqueda de un camino, debe estar radicado en la sociedad haitiana, lo que requiere la construcción de acuerdos lo más inclusivos posibles de todos los sectores de la política y la sociedad civil. Creemos que es en esa dimensión particularmente, en la construcción de esos acuerdos lo más inclusivos posibles, donde este foro puede hacer un aporte importante, convocando a la mesa a todos los actores para construir legitimidad, consenso y coordinación, tres condiciones imprescindibles para iniciar un camino viable de salida. Gracias, presidente.
Muchas gracias, Excellencia. Thank you very much for your concluding remarks. The Chair sees no further requests for the floor, and therefore I believe this is an appropriate time, if there are no other requests, to move to item 7, and for the Chair of the Working Group to just provide a bit of a look forward and some concluding remarks. Earlier this week, in fact, while attending an event to celebrate the 10th anniversary of the election of His Holiness Pope, the representative of the Holy See, in his remarks to the gathering, made an observation, and he noted that dialogue is the source of discovery. I paraphrase essentially what he said. I think today our dialogue has helped us to discover some things that we may not have known before, some things that I think we had not had such a clear perspective on as we do now. And I think we've also come to discover some of the specific areas that the OAS, and particularly through this working group on Haiti, that we should address our prioritized attention to if we are to provide assistance to Haiti. I will not go over the outputs of the 3 cluster consultations. I would say that I've taken note of the outcomes, the outputs, not yet outcomes, only outputs, and to advise that those outputs will now be included in the deliberations undertaken by the working group during the coming months. Going back to the work plan for the working group, at the core, the working group is 15 member states. But today, what we gave effect to was another manner by which the working group will pursue its mandate. And so today we had the first occasion on which, as a working group, we operated and consulted in clusters. It is clear that after today's deliberations, that the final of the 3 processes by which the working group will pursue its mandate, which is what we describe as a complementary forum, it is evident that we will need to employ that complementary forum on a few occasions between now and the 53rd General Assembly. We heard, for example, from the cluster consultation on humanitarian assistance that we need to take some time to sit with our colleagues and partners at ICA and PAHO to consider fully the work that is being done in the areas of food security and health. We heard as well from the consultation, the cluster consultation on security assistance, that there are other opportunities that need to be addressed. For example, with respect to arms trafficking, support for the Haitian National Police focused on the areas of capacity building and anti-corruption within the Haitian National Police, or what I also understand to be raising professional standards. So clearly, as provided for in the work plan for the working group, we will at some point arrange to have complementary forums where, again, in the interest of ensuring that we do not duplicate work that's being done elsewhere, we will also take the opportunity to meet with and receive, as I indicated, presentations from other regional and sub-regional initiatives in support of the ongoing dialogue between the government of Haiti, political parties, private sector, religious actors and civil society, including women's organizations, as specified in General Assembly Resolution 2982 and Permanent Council Resolution 1214. And in that regard, I repeat the intent of the working group to receive one such presentation, to request and receive one such presentation from the Special Advisor on Haiti to the CARICOM Secretary General. It's clear that this dialogue today is only the beginning of an ongoing dialogue process, and it is therefore the beginning of an ongoing process of discovery of the assistance that we can more effectively give together by collective action, as encouraged by our distinguished colleague, Ambassador from the United States. As the chair of the working group, I consider this to have been one of the most important responsibilities that I have been provided with by colleague permanent representatives to help create leadership among ourselves for ensuring that we finally respond to the problem that for so long has been described and endured by the people of Haiti. In essence, the situation in Haiti is a decades-old challenge. And clearly, as we've been told, the accord arrived at on 21st December presents an opportunity that the Organization of American States would not want to miss. So with that said, I thank you for your participation. I must express the deepest appreciation of the Permanent Council and the Working Group to all of the presenters who took time today to share with us, first from the Government of Haiti, the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Haiti, His Excellency Jean-Victor Généus, and of course the President of the High-Level Transition Council of Haiti, Her Excellency Maryland Manigat, who made it very clear to us and clearly made us aware of some things that are priorities that we may have missed. And if I may just refer to two of those en passant along the way. One, she referred to the imperative for public service, public administration reform, and she also referred to, as I quickly retrieve my notes, yes, the re-establishment of the appeals court in Haiti. Clearly, if you listened again to the presentation from Madame Maniga, that matter of the re-establishment of the appeals court in Haiti, she repeated it several times. It must be of the highest priority, and it's a matter that the working group will have to consider. I also wish to thank, I see a request for the floor from the delegation of Jamaica. Distinguished colleague, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chair. And good afternoon to you and other colleagues. My apologies for taking the floor while you're doing your closing remarks, but I don't know if it's an oversight or I missed your earlier intervention on the matter. However, we did receive a readout of the cluster on electoral and democracy assistance. So I'm just wondering if it's an oversight or that's going to be dealt with in another form. Thank you.
Thank you, distinguished colleague. Thank you. I will confess it was an oversight, and it is possibly because the chair of that consultation had to be away for reasons, for unavoidable reasons. I, in fact, spent much time in that consultation, so let me share, and I did have a quick chat with her on her way out, so I could try to share now. Again, I'm going back to my notes. Yes. The key points for follow-up action from the cluster consultation on electoral and democracy strengthening assistance relate to the importance of having a national agreement and a dialogue process, because without those two, there was no likelihood that the re-establishment of the Conseil Electoral Provisoire would be achievable. In that context, the importance of the second point was the importance of the constitutional and legal framework to enable the strengthening of the electoral system in Haiti. And finally, the matter of the need for an updated electoral evaluation mission and to include an updated registry of political parties. There are other points that came out of the consultation, and be assured that at the working group we will receive the full readout and we'll share it with all delegations. Thank you very much for your reminder. Thank you. I'm grateful. I see as well the delegation of Haiti has requested the floor, so I pause my closing remarks. You have the floor, Excellency.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur le Président. Avant de finaliser vos propos de clôture, la délégation d'Haïti aimerait prendre quelques secondes pour présenter ses remerciements à tous les membres de l'organisation, les pays membres, les pays observateurs qui ont participé aux échanges que nous avons eu aujourd'hui sur Haïti. J'aimerais rappeler que cette activité, ce dialogue que nous avons eu, c'est l'aboutissement des différentes activités que la délégation d'Haïti, en commun accord avec les différentes entités de l'OEA, a entrepris. Je veux rappeler ici l'initiative prise par le Conseil permanent pour la création du groupe des bons offices sur Haïti, et le produit créé par ce groupe a été transformé en une déclaration de la 51e Assemblée générale, où le point sur l'assassinat du président, le support électoral, l'encouragement au dialogue politique a été mentionné dans cette déclaration, et cette déclaration, lors de la 52e l'année dernière, a été transformée en une résolution, et cette résolution maintenant est en train d'être, les mandats octroyés par les ministres des Affaires étrangères maintenant sont en train d'être exécutés par le groupe de travail. Je remercie les États membres qui ont participé aux différents groupes, le groupe sur la sécurité, sur la démocratie et les questions humanitaires. Ils ont produit des commentaires assez intéressants, mais ils ont tous insisté sur le fait qu'il n'y aura pas d'augmentation d'aide humanitaire en Haïti. La réalisation des élections n'aura pas lieu si les conditions de sécurité sur le terrain ne sont pas améliorées. Et c'est sur ce point qu'a insisté le ministre des Affaires étrangères ainsi que notre présidente, la présidente du Haut Conseil de transition, qui a mentionné le fait qu'aucun pays de la région n'accepterait pas qu'il soit dans la situation dans laquelle Haïti se trouve. Donc, elle a mis l'accent sur l'urgence, comme l'a fait le ministre des Affaires étrangères. Mes félicitations, Monsieur le Président. Merci pour votre leadership et je salue la déclaration de notre collègue des États-Unis qui va maintenant vous seconder dans votre travail de président du groupe de travail. Mes remerciements, Monsieur le Président.
Thank you very much, Excellency. And be assured that we will continue to express, not only in words, but in actions, our renewed support and commitment to assist Haiti. I continue with my expressions of gratitude to the presenters, and of course I must thank the Senator, the Honourable Kamina Johnson-Smith, the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade of Jamaica, whose video recorded presentation we received, and we have asked the Permanent Mission of Jamaica to convey our gratitude. It was also a pleasure to have Ambassador Miroslav Zhenka, the Assistant Secretary General for Europe, Central Asia and Americas, here with us this morning, as well as the Special Representative of the UN Secretary General in Haiti, Ambassador Helen Lalim. And of course, I want to place on record our deepest gratitude to the Special Representative of the OAS Secretary General in Haiti for his support, not only today, you heard him speak often today, but be assured that in all the deliberations of our working group so far, Special Representative Dupuy has been at all our meetings, and he is one of our key sources of updated information of developments on the ground in Haiti. So to you and your team, Special Representative Dupuy, we express our deep appreciation, and we continue to request that you do all that you can to remain safe and secure in Haiti. I must also thank all of the delegations, member states, all permanent observers for your contributions to this morning's discussion. We've come to the end of the day. Clearly, security is first, but security is also multidimensional. And therefore, from that perspective, as we have been hearing in our respective clusters, there is no time for a sequential engagement of the multidimensional security challenge that is in front of us. Human security matters, but so too does health security and food security. We have heard of youth. By the way, if you missed it, more than 66% of the population of Haiti is under the age of 25. I repeat, more than 66% of the population of Haiti is younger than 25. And therefore, we have heard of the stories of there being no street children. And while that should be a good report, it is not. I conclude with a few words that I have written in my own reflections on the situation in Haiti. A combination of volatility and complexity has characterized the development process of Haiti, even with intensified attention by the international community to security and stabilization operations, particularly since 1994. That's 3 decades ago. Mutually reinforcing structural, state, strategic and systemic factors have resulted in increases in both state fragility and multidimensional vulnerability in Haiti, and notably since its constitution came into effect with the elections of 1995. Amidst Haiti's persistent complexity, fragility, volatility and vulnerability, and despite large inflows of international development assistance, survivability, multidimensional security, stability, sustainability, and vitality remain elusive. Haiti's young and highly urbanized domestic population and its large diaspora and migrant communities have increased their activism and expectations for the international community to support meaningful and significant change in Haiti have increased. I think today is for us a direct response to this appeal. I want to again thank everyone, including our dedicated Secretariat staff. You see them along the sides of the room, working diligently to keep us connected, our interpreters who faithfully enable us to communicate with each other, and of course the direct support Secretariat staff of the Permanent Council and this working group. I look forward, as we continue as a working group, to pursue our mandate and contribute to meaningful and purposeful change in Haiti as we respond to a problem that's decades old, but clearly one that by dialogue, I am convinced we will discover ways by which we can assist meaningfully. Thank you again for your time and attention today, and I look forward to when we reconvene as a working group on the 21st, on the afternoon of the 21st of March. Thank you, and this meeting is now adjourned. Thank you.